Okay, so standard deviation, we talked about this last time is standard deviation is we compare and see where we are compared to the average, okay? So these values, 41, 38, 39, 45, I'm just want to remind you that it's a salary, right? It's the company, one of the company that we talked about last time. It's like the 10 people who get hired. And then these are the starting salary. That's how much they get paid when they first get hired for that company. So where are these scored from? It's the salary. So the first one is $41,000, $38,000, so on, right? So step number one, I'm gonna write out the step number one, is to find the mean. Step number one is to find the mean. I'm not going to go over how to find the mean. At this point, I think we should be okay with finding the mean, which is the mean is 41.5. So that's step number one. Step number two, what we do next is the second column. Step number two, I label 2. I'm going to make this 2 a little bit bigger. Step number 2 is we're going to find the deviation. How we find the deviation is that we take the x values, which is the salary that's given to us, minus the mean. So that's step number 2. So we're going to do step number 2 right now. And for those who copy down the table, or you still have the table from the last time, it's okay. You're going to copy it again. It won't hurt. It's just another practice for you. So to do this, I'm taking the score, which is 41. Take away the mean, which is right here, 41.5. And I got negative 0.5. I'm going to do the same for all of them. So I'm going to do the next one, 38 minus 41.5. And we got negative 3.5. How do we get the mean? We add all of these salaries together. We add 41, 38, 39, 45, add all of them. We get the total and divide by 10. So we add all the salary together and divide, because it's 10 people, so I divide by 10. That's how I get 41.5, okay? Well, I'm going to do the next one, 39 minus 41.5. That will give me negative 2.5. So that's how I got these values. You're going to do the same for all of them. You're going to take 45 minus 41, same thing. So what I will do is that I'm just going to write out the rest of the values, okay? So for this, do we have any questions for the second step, step number 2? Are we okay with step 2? Step number 1, we find the mean. Step number 2, we find the deviation by taking the values that given to us minus the mean. Let's do one more, 45 minus 41.5. That would give me 3.5. Okay. Is the second column okay? Is step 2 is okay? If you don't say anything, I'm going to assume it's okay. I'm going to move forward, right? If you still have a question, let me know. It's okay. Like I said, standard deviation is not too bad, but it's just so many steps, and that you have to remember. So if you have it on a piece of paper, label the steps, that would help you, right? Okay, you will do the same for the rest. We already have the table, so I'm not gonna do all of them, but what we do is we already have the table. We can just copy that down. We'll finish up terms of my standard deviation in a minute, okay? So if I look over here, I'm doing the same thing. I should have these values. Step number 3 is, here's the thing. When I have these negative numbers, I don't want negative number because what happened is when I add those together, somehow they cancel out. And I ended up with a 0, which I don't want to. So step number 3, this is a mistake that I got a lot from my other class, is that when the step number 3 is you square the deviation. So x minus the mean, square it, raise it to the second power. So what happened here is when you subtract, you got negative 0.5. You got negative 0.5 right here. You're going to square it. So I'm going to square this one. Okay, now be very careful when you do this. If you put in your calculator, you should put this inside parentheses, square. And this should give you a positive value. Remember, when you have negative times a negative, give you a positive. So give you 0.25. You should not have negative on your third column. Same thing for the next one. Negative 3.5 square. That gives you 12.25. Do the same thing for the next one. Negative 2.5 square. That would give me 6.25. We'll do the rest. Okay. So those are the 3 steps that we cover from the last class. How we feel about that? We okay? Is there anything else that I need to go back and re-explain before we finish up the problem today? So 3 things we covered from the last class: find the mean, find the deviation, which is step 2. Step 3, we square the values, the difference. So for step number 4, like I said, I will add all of them together, all right? So all of these values, if I add them up, that should give me 88.5. So I did the math ahead of time. I just add them up, okay? So that's step 4. So step 1, 2, 3, step 4, I add them up. So step 4 is not difficult, but it takes some time, and make sure when you type in your calculator, you don't miss any values. So my trick would be after if I put into 0.25, I would cross it out, so that way I don't miss any numbers, okay? Then step number 5. What I do with step number 5 is that I would take whatever I have from step number 4, divide by n. So I'm going to take 88.5 divided by, in this case, n is a population, which I have 10 people. So I'm going to divide by how many people in this group. So that's step number 5. I'm taking this total, divide by how many people or how many items that I have, which is the n, is 10. So I divide by 10, which give me about 8.9. The last step to find the standard deviation, the very last step, is step number 6. I'm going to take the square root of whatever in step number 5, and that would give me about 3.0. Wait, hold on. I did it wrong. Sorry. Let's see. A square root of 8.9. Yeah, I round up to 3, but if you want to, sometimes we can have it around 2.98, or you can round it up to 3.